Yes, Shawan, and it turns out that this shooting, which happened here in Wynwood, was reportedly a fight between a local rapper and her manager. And now the question for investigators is whether this was self-defense or second-degree murder.
A young Florida rapper steps out onto a busy Miami street. It's daytime. Cameras are rolling. People are walking by. Within seconds, a confrontation begins. She is arguing with two men. One is her manager. The argument becomes physical. She is pushed to the ground. The two men stand over her. She manages to get up and walk away. Moments later, she comes back. This time, she is holding a gun. She walks toward the men, aims, and fires multiple times. The shots hit her manager. He falls. The second man flees. The rapper runs too, but is suddenly hit by a car. Bystanders call 911. The manager is pronounced dead on the scene. The rapper is taken into custody. She claims self-defense. She says she feared for her life. She says the confrontation was not new. She says there were threats before the shooting. The court granted her bond. She is under house arrest, awaiting trial. Was it a planned shooting or a split-second decision? What was the relationship between the rapper and her manager? What led to this moment? Why did she return with a gun? If you're captivated by real crime stories that peel back the layers of truth, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your support means a world to us as we uncover real cases, raise awareness, and give a voice to the voiceless. Before we dive into today's story, we want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? And how do you feel as the story unfolds? Welcome to Deadly Crime Unmasked, the show where we expose the shocking crimes that rip through communities and the chilling secrets lurking behind closed doors. These are real people, real events, real consequences. Don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications. You won't want to miss the gripping story that's coming up. Now, let's dive in. Vhani Camilla Hicks, better known by her stage name Vhani, is a young, up-and-coming rapper from Florida. In her early 20s, she entered the music scene with ambition and a goal to break through in the competitive world of hip-hop. Her career path was not backed by major record labels or national media. Instead, it was a grassroots climb, largely built from her efforts in local Florida clubs, open mics, and viral freestyle clips posted on social media. Vhani grew up in a tough neighborhood, surrounded by crime, poverty, and frequent tension. Life in that environment demanded resilience. It was common to see young people turn to music, not just as a passion, but as a possible escape route from the everyday risks that came with street life. Hicks was no different. Her early lyrics often reflected the raw reality of her environment, talking about survival, independence, betrayal, and ambition. As she got older, her focus shifted more toward building a brand around her music. Her look, delivery, and online presence were all carefully planned to create an image that would stand out. She built a small but loyal following, mostly online, where her music and visuals started gaining attention beyond her city. Her name began popping up in underground rap blogs, and she got invitations to perform at showcases meant for unsigned artists. The man who would later become the victim in this story was not just a business partner to Vhani. He played multiple roles in her life. He managed her bookings, social media strategy, and business negotiations. But he also had a close personal relationship with her. The two spent significant time together, not just working but socializing. Several people who knew them say that their bond blurred the lines between personal loyalty and professional management. Their friendship and business relationship were deeply connected. Reports suggest that he may have helped her financially in the early stages of her music career. He was also seen at many of her recording sessions and public appearances. From the outside, it looked like he was fully invested in helping her succeed. But what happened later raised serious questions about what was really going on behind closed doors. In the days leading up to the shooting incident in Wynwood, Miami, multiple sources claim there were growing tensions between Vhani and her manager. Arguments had allegedly taken place, though no formal police reports were filed before the incident. Some online commenters have speculated about controlling behavior, disagreements over money, and clashes over career direction. However, without concrete evidence, much of this remains unverified. On social media, Vhani's content started to change just before the shooting. Observers noticed a shift in tone. Less excitement about music, more posts with cryptic captions. Some say it hinted at personal turmoil. But again, there was no clear public explanation from her at the time. On October 9th, 2023, a violent street confrontation led to the fatal shooting of a man by aspiring Florida rapper Vhani Camilla Hicks, known by her stage name Vhani. The incident occurred around 4:45 p.m. in Wynwood, a busy neighborhood in Miami known for its street art, nightlife, and foot traffic. The shooting took place at a street corner near Northwest First Place and 20th Street. This area, especially during late afternoon, is typically crowded with pedestrians, vehicles, and business patrons. Surveillance cameras from surrounding shops captured the entire sequence of events. The incident began with a heated argument between Vhani and two unidentified men, one of whom was reportedly her manager. The verbal dispute escalated quickly. Video footage shows that all three individuals were shouting, gesturing, and moving aggressively. During the argument, the confrontation became physical. Surveillance shows both men engaging with Vhani. One of the men was identified as her manager. The disagreement, which began as a verbal exchange, escalated into a physical struggle. In the video, Vhani is thrown to the ground by the two men. Witnesses later told investigators that the altercation appeared heated and aggressive. Hicks struggled beneath the weight of both men, reportedly yelling and resisting their grip. After a few seconds, the struggle ends and the men release her. She stands up, dusts herself off, and walks away from the scene. However, she does not leave entirely. Hicks returns moments later. This time, she is seen reaching into her purse. She pulls out a firearm and raises it toward the men. Without hesitation, she opens fire. Multiple rounds are discharged. Her manager is struck several times and collapses to pavement. The other man attempts to flee, and chaos erupts on the street. Several pedestrians who were nearby run for cover. Cars screech to a stop. Drivers step out of their vehicles, looking around in confusion. One of those vehicles, according to police, was operated by the second man involved in the earlier scuffle. In the aftermath of the shooting, the car accelerates toward Hicks. Reports confirm that the vehicle hits her. She is knocked to ground and briefly disappears from view on the surveillance footage. Despite being struck, she quickly rises and continues moving down the sidewalk, fleeing the area. This entire chain of events, from the physical fight to gunfire to being hit by a car, unfolds in just over 2 minutes. Within seconds of the final gunshots, multiple 911 calls are made by witnesses. Several people describe hearing a woman screaming gunshots and a body on the ground. Others report seeing the woman who fired the gun running away while holding her side, possibly injured from the impact of the car. Emergency responders arrive at the scene in minutes. Police tape is quickly placed around the area, and traffic is redirected. The man who was shot, identified as Hicks's manager, is found lying on the pavement with multiple gunshot wounds to the chest and abdomen. Paramedics perform CPR at the scene. Despite efforts to resuscitate him, the victim is pronounced dead shortly after emergency medical technicians arrive. The time of death is officially recorded on the scene by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. As authorities begin collecting evidence, several witnesses come forward. Many had captured videos or photos with their smartphones. Others point officers toward the direction where Hicks fled after being hit by the vehicle. Police begin a grid search of nearby blocks, using both patrol units and AK-9 team. Vhani Hicks is found less than 2 hours later in a nearby neighborhood, not far from the site of the incident. She is walking with a limp and has minor visible injuries consistent with being struck by a vehicle. She does not resist arrest and is taken into custody without further incident. At the time of her arrest, Hicks does not have a firearm in her possession. Investigators later recover the weapon from a dumpster behind a nearby building. Ballistics testing confirms that the gun recovered is the same firearm used in the shooting. During initial questioning, Hicks informs police that she acted in self-defense. She states that she feared for her life during the earlier assault. She claims that the men, including her manager, had physically attacked her and that she believed they would not stop unless she protected herself. She further mentions that past incidents between them had turned violent. Despite this claim, she is formally charged with second-degree murder. The prosecutor cites the surveillance video as central evidence. It clearly shows Hicks walking away from the altercation and then returning with a weapon to fire at the men. Prosecutors argue that this gap in time eliminates the immediate threat element required for a self-defense claim. She is held at Miami-Dade County Jail while awaiting her first court appearance. Her bond is set at $50,000. A judge also orders her to be placed under house arrest and monitored by GPS tracking upon release. The case quickly makes headlines due to the graphic nature of the shooting and the involvement of a rising rapper. It also raises legal questions about the line between self-defense and retaliation. If someone attacks you and you manage to escape, but then return with a weapon, should that still be considered self-defense? Vhani's team told the court that her manager had repeatedly abused and threatened her. While these claims were not supported by past police reports, her lawyer presented text messages, voicemails, and private chats to support the argument. Some of these messages reportedly showed the manager yelling at her, threatening her career and making aggressive demands. They also suggested that their relationship had gone beyond business. The lawyer did not confirm whether they were romantically involved, but said the control went beyond professional level. Vhani's team said this put her in a mental state of constant fear. The biggest piece of evidence in the case is the surveillance video from a street camera. In the footage, Vhani is seen arguing with two men, one of whom is her manager. She is pushed to the ground, held there briefly, and then released. She walks away for several seconds, goes to her purse, pulls out a gun, and fires multiple shots at the manager. Her team said these injuries came from the assault captured on video. They also claimed there were older scars from past incidents involving the manager. Medical records were submitted to support this point. Her lawyer said these injuries proved that she was not the aggressor, but the one being harmed. Once the video went viral, the internet split into two sides. One side believed it was a clear case of murder. They said the video proved she had time to think before acting. These viewers pointed to the fact that she walked away, got the gun, and returned to shoot. In their view, it was not self-defense, it was revenge. The other side argued that self-defense does not have to be immediate. They said if someone is abused for a long time, one final moment can push them over the edge. They believed she was defending herself from ongoing harm, not just that one fight. Both sides shared opinions on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. The case became widely discussed, especially in conversations about domestic violence, women's safety, and power dynamics in the music industry. The court must now decide if the shooting was a planned act of violence, a panic-driven act of defense, or something in between. This part of the trial is ongoing. No final verdict has been given yet. Vhani is currently on house arrest under GPS tracking, waiting for her day in court. Vhani's legal team has filed a motion claiming self-defense. According to her lawyers, the shooting was a response to immediate physical harm and a long-standing pattern of threats and abuse. They argue that her life was in danger during the altercation, and her actions were done in protection of herself, not out of anger or revenge. In court filings, the defense stated that Vhani was physically assaulted by her manager and another man during the incident. Surveillance footage shows her being tackled to the ground by both individuals. She was allegedly held down, punched, and possibly kicked. After breaking free and walking away, she is seen retrieving a firearm from her purse and returning to the location. She then fired multiple rounds, striking and killing her manager. The defense claims that even though she walked away, the threat to her safety was still present. They also suggest that her injuries, captured in post-incident photos, show signs of trauma consistent with a defensive response. Her lawyers are pushing for a stand-your-ground hearing, which, if successful, could result in the dismissal of charges before trial. The state attorney's office has rejected the self-defense claim, arguing that Vhani's actions were intentional and calculated. Prosecutors allege that after being thrown to the ground, she was no longer in immediate danger when she chose to walk away from the scene. They state that instead of leaving entirely or calling police, she went to her purse, pulled out a firearm, returned, and shot with intent to kill. According to the prosecution, this timeline demonstrates premeditation, not self-defense. They describe the act as retaliation after a confrontation that bruised her physically and possibly emotionally. Prosecutors have presented the shooting as a clear case of revenge after being publicly humiliated and overpowered. They also highlight that she fired multiple times, even though the victim was already wounded and falling. This, in their view, shows a desire to inflict fatal damage beyond what will be necessary for protection. At this stage, the judge is reviewing motions from both sides. No decision has been made yet regarding the validity of the self-defense claim or whether the case should proceed to trial. A hearing is expected to be scheduled to formally decide whether the stand your ground law applies. If the judge finds that self-defense is legally justified, the case could be dismissed without going to a jury trial. However, if the motion is denied, Vhani will stand trial for second-degree murder, which carries up to life imprisonment under Florida law. Until the court rules on a motion, all parties are under a gag order, limiting public statements. The trial date has not been confirmed, but legal analysts suggest it could take place in late 2024 or early 2025, depending on how quickly the judge rules on the pretrial motions and how long discovery takes. If this story gripped your heart and left you questioning the truth, don't forget to hit that like button and share with others who need to hear it. For more chilling true crime stories that dive deep into the mysteries behind these tragedies, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest updates, investigations, and thought-provoking discussions. Thank you for being part of this journey with us as we uncover the truth and seek justice. Together, we can make a difference. Stay safe, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next one.